Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Stan sent me a story out of Memphis, and it mentions a radio station. I worked in radio as a disc jockey a long time ago, and as a talk show host later. But anytime people see stories about radio stations, send them my way. I find this stuff fascinating, but this is a crazy one. Copper thieves knock radio station off the air, according to the local police. Melissa Moon wrote this for WREG. Police say copper thieves knocked a radio station off the air when they stole $160,000 worth of copper wiring from the transmitter towers. Now, the problem is that that's the amount of money it's going to cost to repair this. The amount of money these thieves would have made if they'd sold the copper wouldn't be that much, and it's very wasteful. So the radio station was 10:30 a.m., and it lost its signal on a Sunday morning. The station owner went to the transmitter towers to see what the problem was, and he discovered that the copper wiring was gone. According to police, someone broke into the building housing the transmitter and stole cables and other copper components, and they also cut the copper wiring running underground to the radio towers. The owner of the radio station said the thieves broke through the chain link fence and locks to access the equipment. Also broke doors to get into the dog houses of the station towers. So a lot of radio stations, if you see the actual tower where they broadcast, there's a big tower, and at the bottom is a little small building. And he's calling it a dog house because that's what many people call it. But it's a small little building, and it's just simply housing a bunch of electronic equipment. Most of the things they broke have been repaired and reinforced, he said, regarding the fences and locks and so on. Investigators said that there was 3 people who were arrested, and they were caught burning the copper cables in front of a house less than a half mile from the radio transmitter towers. I suspect they're doing that because they wanted to remove the covering, the insulation off the cable, so they could then go sell the copper for its scrap value. A man who spoke to the news but didn't want to be identified said he smelled the smoke, and then he saw several police cars pull up on the street. He said they dug a hole in the yard to burn it, and they caught them in the act of burning it. Police said they got a tip that men were seen dragging cables the day of the burglary, and then another tip that several people were seen burning the copper wiring. An engineer for the radio station estimated the cost to repair all the damage was around $160,000. 4 men have been taken into custody. So far, only 3 have been charged with burglary of a building, theft of property, tampering with evidence. And by the way, and that's burning the cables is tampering with evidence, knocking a radio station off the air could also be a federal offense. So one of the men was released on a $5,000 bond. 2 others are being held on a $100,000 bond. And I assure you, that if you sold that scrap, you would not get $160,000 for it. So that's what I think is so sad about these stories. It is so wasteful. It's like the catalytic converters on vehicles. People saw them off and sell them for pennies in the dollar of what it's going to cost to fix. So I actually was doing some research on this story. I wanted to know more about it. I was poking around, and interestingly, I ran across a whole bunch of other stories involving copper theft in Memphis. Now, this is a problem across the country. Some states have passed laws about what you got to do to go in and sell scrap at a scrapyard. And some of the laws are good, some of the laws are not so terribly enforceable, and some are simply not followed. But there appears to be something happening in Memphis because Vivian Wynn wrote this story not so long ago. $9,000 of copper was stolen from Memphis light, gas, and water vehicles, according to Memphis police. That would be 4 rolls of copper worth $9,340. Officers responded to a theft from a motor vehicle at MLGW, Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, on Winchester Road. Police, when they arrived, they spoke with a security officer who said that several work trucks had copper stolen from them over the weekend. They said that the 4 rolls of copper were stolen sometime between Saturday at 6 p.m. and Monday at 6 a.m. Again, a Sunday is involved. According to reports, the approximate value of the stolen copper is $2,000 per roll. They said that they observed a fence that was cut and a roll of copper on the ground leading away from the scene. So they apparently dropped one roll but got the others. And so I've heard stories. It was happening in Detroit for a while, and people were busting into anything that might contain copper wiring and ripping the copper wiring out and then taking it and selling it for scrap. And the sad part is that the amount of money that you get for scrap copper is nothing compared to what it costs to repair this stuff. We've also heard about people getting injured doing this. As you can imagine, if there is electricity flowing through the copper wiring that you're trying to steal, you might have some issues there. So it's a dangerous thing. But when they catch people like this, they got to throw the book at them, because we all know that if they get a slap on the wrist, they're going to probably go right back out and do it some more. And it is so wasteful. And I keep getting back to that, because you cause $160,000 worth of damage to make a couple $100 to the copper. Okay. And so who's going to pay to fix this radio station's transmitter and broadcasting equipment? They are, or their insurance is. And, they can order restitution from somebody who gets convicted, but does it ever get paid? Rarely. And that's the problem. So crazy story, but Stan, thanks for sending that, by Melissa Moon from WREG. Copper thieves knock radio station off the air, according to the Memphis Police Department. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law.
The less you respond to negative people, the more positive your life will become.